What's going on, growers? It's James Prigioni coming to you live from Jersey. Whether it's blossom end rot, bugs, or blight, I've battled it all. Today, I'm going to share with you 10 common problems when growing tomatoes and how to fix them. Let's go! You're about to grab a tomato, you're excited. You pick it off the plant, then turn it over, and boom, there's a black sunken spot on it. That's blossom end rot, and it's truly a heartbreaker. Here's the deal though. Blossom end rot isn't due to any pests or disease issues. It's actually because of a lack of calcium in the fruit. The tricky part is though, a lot of times your soil has enough calcium. The problem has to do with water. So inconsistent watering can cause blossom end rot because these fruits need calcium in order to form correctly. And calcium is immobile in a plant, which means it needs water to take the calcium up through the plant and into the fruit. So your soil might have enough calcium in it, it's just that inconsistent watering that's really killing you. The way to fix it is to make sure you're going out there consistently and watering and keeping the soil nice and moist and not letting it dry out too much. It's tough sometimes when growing plants in a pot like this, a tomato. Since the tomato is so big and it's got so much fruit, it can take up water and transpire water so quickly. So what we want to make sure we're doing is coming out every morning and giving this plant enough water, and then maybe even some days where it's super hot, going out later in the evening and feeling the weight of it. If it feels really light or it's starting to get lighter, that might mean it needs more water. So the way to fix it is to just stay on top of your watering, keep it consistent. Another thing you can do is put a mulch down like you see in here. A mulch like leaves will help the soil dry out slower and more consistently, which will help with blossom end rot. And you could also just make sure that your soil does have adequate calcium. If you use something like an all-purpose fertilizer when planting your tomato, it should have enough calcium in it. But if you want to just make sure and be safe, you could add something like bone meal. This will add a lot of calcium to the soil and be a big help. The other thing you want to do is just make sure that your pH is around 6.5, because if your pH is too far out of that range, then that could actually restrict nutrient uptake when your pH is just too far off. When it comes down to it though, when you see the fruits like this with the blossom end rot on them, there's nothing you can do about it. It's best to just grab all the fruits that have blossom end rot, toss them in the trash, fix your watering, make sure the soil has calcium and the pH is right. The next round of fruits will be perfect, healthy, happy, and you won't have to deal with this blossom end rot anymore. You see yellowing leaves, then brown spots with yellow rings around them. Welcome to blight season. And there are two kinds, early blight and late blight. When it comes to early blight, that starts at the lower part of the plant and then it'll move its way up. You'll see some of the leaves yellowing, some of those brown spots forming, and then like yellow rings around those brown spots. The thing is, late blight is different and it's even worse and more aggressive. When it comes to the late blight, you'll see like brown and blackening leaves, and the late blight can even attack the stems of your plants and the fruit. The stems and stuff will like start turning all brown and everything. So how do we fix this? Well, first of all, we want to prevent it. A good way to do that would be to prune off the lower leaves before they even have problems, because the lower leaves don't get as much light and as much airflow, and fungi hate light and airflow. So when we remove those lower leaves, we open the plant up to the light and the air to help prevent it. If you already are seeing issues like you see right here, then what you need to do is grab your pruners and make sure that you first clean them with isopropyl alcohol, because we don't want to be spreading disease from one plant to the next and up the plant. So we'll take isopropyl alcohol, we'll clean the pruners, then go by and remove any of the leaves with the problem on them, because these leaves are infected. They're going to continue infecting the plant unless we remove them from this plant. We'll take these, we'll throw them in the garbage, not in the compost pile. We'll take these and throw them in the trash. You want to remove all the leaves that have blight issues on the plant, then essentially the plant doesn't have blight, so it will stop spreading it throughout the plant. Another thing is we want to make sure we're watering at the base to, again, prevent the leaves from getting wet, because that's just going to cause a whole host of problems. What you could do after you remove the leaves, or even before as a preventative, you could use something like a liquid copper fungicide. This isn't something I would use really on my tomatoes because it's not necessarily organic and we're eating the tomatoes so soon, so I don't like to use a spray like this. I would suggest using something like neem oil though. Just make sure it has the azadirachta in it because the azadirachta has some antifungal properties, so it could help suppress the blight and prevent it from actually occurring and happening. Another thing we could do is, what I suggest you do is make sure you grow some varieties that are resistant to blight. For instance, let's move right here. This right here is the Mountain Magic tomato. This thing has incredible resistance to both early and late blight, plus the fruit resists cracking. So it has some really good anti-blight kind of properties because it's resistant. Another good one you could grow is the Juliet. That has nice looking fruit. It's resistant to blight and it's a good option. And a great one for late blight resistance is the Cherry Bomb. This one has incredible resistance to late blight. So it's a really good variety if you want to just, extend your season. When it comes down to it, blight tends to show up when leaves get pretty wet. But just removing a lot of the leaves with blight will make a considerable difference. I have had plants in the past where they were the same variety. One of the plants I didn't prune the leaves off, I let the blight stay, and it just spread throughout the whole plant. The other plant, I removed the blight early, threw it in the garbage, and the plant continued to excel later in the season. So you see leaves with issues on them like blight, get them off the plant and get them in the garbage. Your tomato looks good on one side, then you turn it over and you've got a spot where it's pale, it's sometimes gray, even a little like papery. This is Sunscald. It's essentially just sunburn on your tomato plants, and it's caused by a tomato getting too much direct sunlight. How do you fix it? Just when you're pruning, make sure you only remove some of those lower leaves and keep some of the suckers or some of the leaves in the center of the plant to help shade that plant. This way, the tomatoes just don't get so much direct sunlight all the time. It's not an issue that I have around here a lot in New Jersey, but if you're down south, you probably can get it all the time. So just make sure when pruning you leave some extra leaves to shade out the fruit. Or what you can do is use something like a 40% shade cloth on those really hot days where the sun is just blistering. This way it doesn't like blister your tomatoes. But just give them a little bit of shade. It'll make all the difference for you. And even if you have a plant a fruit like this and it has Sunscald on it, that's okay. I can still just cut that section off when I want to eat it and eat the tomato. So if I want to bring this inside, let it ripen a little bit more, cut off the Sunscald after it's ripe and still get a delicious, fantastic mushroom basket tomato. Flowers show up, look great, then fall off with no fruit behind them. This is called blossom drop, and it's usually due to temperature stress. It's either too hot out or too cold out. And at this time of the year, it's usually because it's too dang hot out. Blossom drop can also happen as a result of your plant having too much nitrogen, just giving them a fertilizer that's too high in nitrogen when they're in the fruiting stage. Or it could be due to a lack of pollination. So how do we fix this? First, let's make sure that it's not nutrient-based or pollination-based. So use an all-purpose fertilizer or a fertilizer that's higher in potassium and phosphorus, just to make sure the plant has enough for fruiting. And what you can do is come by when there's a lot of flowers and shake the flowers. That will help pollinate it. Or you could just go around with like an electric toothbrush and hand pollinate it yourself. What it comes down to is a lot of times being too dang hot. So if you have days where it's like 95 degrees, days like we just had, then your blossoms might drop. To help prevent this, you could throw something like a 40% shade cloth over the top to protect your plants. When it comes down to it though, once the temperature regulates a little more flowers will show up as long as it's an indeterminate tomato. They'll be fine. So it's usually just a temporary issue when the weather's just not agreeable. You go out to your garden and overnight, bam, half of your tomato is gone. It's been eaten by the tomato hornworm. These are giant, nasty looking caterpillars that actually blend in really well with the tomatoes. They'll eat the leaves, they'll eat the fruit, and they can be annoying to deal with. How do we fix it though? A great way to fix it is if you want to use something like a spray, you can use the BT. This is an organic spray. If you use it, just make sure you use it in the evening so you're not bothering any beneficials. Another thing you can do is just go out there and remove them by hand and then throw them in the trash. A cool thing to do is at night, you can get a black light and then go around your plants, and the tomato hornworms, they glow in the dark. So it makes it really easy to spot them at night and pull them right off your plants. It's a convenient way to do it. So if you want to do it by hand, use that UV light, that black light at night. It's pretty cool, although it could be a little nasty to see them in the middle of the night. It's August, your plant is loaded with green fruit, but none of it's turning red. That is frustrating. And it's usually due to the temperatures just being too dang high, especially during a heat wave. Tomatoes ripen really well once the nighttime temperatures get around like 70 degrees. So if it's still wicked hot at night, that might be the main reason your tomatoes just don't seem to be ripening. It also could be to too much nitrogen, or potentially your plants and fruit not getting enough light or air. Realistically though, it's probably due to the temperature. One thing you could do is take a shade cloth and cover your plant with a 40% shade cloth during like the hot parts of the day. That could help speed up the ripening. You could also prune your tomatoes a little bit, because pruned tomatoes usually ripen about 2 weeks earlier. So that's another thing you could do. Overall though, what I suggest you do is during a heat wave, once you see the tomato starting to blush just a little bit in color, harvest that and let it ripen inside. I have found that over the years, when you have these big heat waves where it's so dang hot out, the tomatoes just seem to ripen a lot faster once they hit that blush stage and you bring them in. You're seeing the leaves on your tomato plants start to yellow. It almost seems like the whole plant, like the color of the green is getting like more pale, more yellow, especially starting like near the bottom. This is going to be due to a nutrient deficiency. And the one I'm explaining is predominantly more for like nitrogen. But when you see your plant starting to yellow, but you're not seeing, like I showed earlier, like some dark spots on it, then that's likely due to a nutrient deficiency. And to fix it, it's pretty easy. We just need to make sure we're providing our plants with a balanced fertilizer. If we're seeing the plant getting like yellowing and we think it's a nitrogen deficiency, then we want to make sure we give them a all-purpose balanced one, just so we're not giving them too much nitrogen if they're into the fruiting stage. Another thing is, when I plant my tomatoes, I make sure to give them fertilizer when first planting. Then also, when they start heading into production, I make sure to give them a top dressing of fertilizer, because these plants are creating a lot of fruit and taking up a lot of nitrogen and a lot of phosphorus and potassium to do that. So we just need to make sure we're staying on top of feeding our plants, because they need to stay on top of feeding us. So a fertilizer will make a massive difference. Make sure it's balanced, or if you're later in the fruiting stage, make sure that it's higher in phosphorus and potassium. You walk up to your tomato plant, you notice some of the leaves are curling like this. It looks weird, but overall the plant is green and still looks pretty happy. This is often physiological leaf curl, and it's a response to stressors like wind, heat, inconsistent watering, and stuff like that. When it comes down to it though, there's usually no real issue with the plant. It's just a reaction due to the stress. So the way to fix it is to try to make the plant not be so stressed out. The way to do that is to make sure you have a mulch down so the soil doesn't dry out too quickly, like you see in here. Also, go out there and consistently water your plant, because inconsistent watering is what can cause this. The third thing you should do is, when you're pruning, don't remove too much, because if you remove too many leaves and too many branches, that can stress the plant out too and cause those leaves to curl. And just try to protect your plant. This problem will kind of sort itself out. It's just likely temporary due to some of those environmental stressors. So as much as you can, keep the plant protected and help it through this stressful time. Then it will go back to production. It'll go back to looking normal and things will work out for you. You go to harvest a tomato and it's cracked wide open. That is fruit splitting, and it's usually caused when we have a dry period, and then after that we have a big heavy rain. And essentially what happens is that rain causes the tomato, the inside of the tomato, to grow so fast that the skin on the outside can't keep up. How do we fix this? To fix it, what we want to make sure is we're going out there and watering consistently, and also having a mulch down. This way the soil doesn't dry out too much before a big rain comes or a big heavy watering from us. Another thing you could do is to grow some varieties that are more crack resistant. For instance, this is the Sun-Gold Cherry. I love this variety. It's my favorite flavored tomato, but it is also susceptible to cracking. So when it comes down to it, grow some varieties like the Mountain Magic I've talked about earlier, that's crack resistant, and you won't really have to deal with this problem. If you do, just make sure you get a mulch down, stay on top of consistent watering. You see a tomato leaf, you flip it over and notice tiny bugs on it. It's soft-bodied insects, and it's most likely aphids or whiteflies. They're pretty easy to get rid of, so don't stress too much. We do need to remove them though, because they suck the sap from the plant and, cause stress to it. They also spread diseases. So what we want to do is grab a spray. An organic one is ideal. One spray that I love a lot is the Safer soap. This is really effective on killing the soft-bodied insects like the aphids and the whiteflies. Another option would be to use neem oil. Mix this with some dish soap. Just again, make sure it has the azadirachta in it, because that's the stuff that's going to be effective. And the important thing is to make sure that you spray the underside of the leaves. You want to spray the pests directly. So spray them directly, and in a couple days, they'll die off. Your plant will be fine, and you can hit them with this pretty regularly. This is stuff that isn't that damaging to, your beneficials like your bees and stuff. So a good option is the Safer soap. I want to share a bonus problem, one that's really hard to deal with, and it's Verticillium and Fusarium wilt. The thing is, these are soil-borne diseases. They're in the soil already, and they can be tricky to fix. So if you have a plant and you see it starting to wilt and yellowing from the bottom up, the leaves, and then you're also seeing potentially one side of the plant that is looking worse than the other, maybe wilting a little bit more, then if you take a stem on the part that's wilted and you cut into it and you see brown streaks inside of the plant, then you likely have wilt, either Fusarium or Verticillium. And there's not much you could do, to be honest. To fix it, what you have to do is take your plant and remove the whole plant, throw it in the garbage. Don't throw it in the compost pile, because this thing spreads. Once the plant has the wilt, you can't really get rid of it. Another thing you could do is, it's not really a fix, but in the future, next year, you can grow varieties that are resistant to Fusarium wilt or Verticillium wilt, because you don't want to just keep planting tomatoes in that same spot every year that aren't, because that disease, again, is in the soil, that fungal issue, and it's going to just keep happening to you every single year. One thing you can do that makes a big difference is you could grow some of your tomatoes in a raised bed or in pots. Just make your own soil and make sure that the natural soil that has the Fusarium or the Verticillium in it doesn't mix with your soil. If you build your own soil, then that soil won't have the disease in it. So that's a good way to kind of avoid it. Those two ways are good. Variety selection is a good one if you want to continue planting the ground. It's one of the worst things to deal with when it comes to tomatoes, because it makes you almost feel helpless. All in all though, just understand the problem and do your best to prevent it in the future so you don't have to keep dealing with it. That's today's video, growers. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. Tomatoes are so worth the effort to grow, but there are a lot of hiccups. It can be tricky and it's not always super easy. They definitely keep you on your toes. The thing is though, every year I learn something new, and the good news about that is when we start to learn all these things and we can identify what the problem is when we see it, then we can get to the solution quickly and it won't get out of hand. This way we can get some good harvests, and that's really what it's all about. I had a blast in this video. Hope you guys got some true value out of it. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share it with your friends, get engaged down in the comments. That helps the channel a lot. I also wanted to mention a thank you to one of our new channel members, Steve James. Thanks for being a part of Team Grow. Thanks for having your hand in everything we're doing out here. I also wanted to mention, you gotta check out the community over at teamgrow.us, where we have well over 3,000 members. We're on there, we're sharing the problems that we have, and then we're going on there and we're helping one another with those issues. When we all come together and pool our knowledge, there's nothing we can't do as a big team, because, as a team and as a group, we're gonna be stronger, we're gonna be smarter, we're gonna solve all the problems that there are, because that's just the way it's done. As a group, as a unit, that's what the team's about, and it's about building a better future together. Check it out at teamgrow.us. And lastly, check out the new merch. I love this design. It's one of my all-time favorites. I rep it just around town all the time, because it's like, people don't know it's about gardening, but I know it's not superficial. This thing isn't just on the surface. There's deeper meaning to this design, and I think that's pretty cool. Overall, I had a blast. It's Actually really cool today. It was like 98 yesterday. Today's like 70. It's just weird weather. So it is a tough year for tomatoes. If your tomatoes haven't done great this year, that's okay. Prep for next year. Take a lot of these things I taught you and apply them early in the season, and you'll get great harvests. We'll be back to you with another one real soon. We out.